Good day, our dear listeners of this darling radio station, Radio Bonakanda. You are welcome to the program Mother and Child Health. Mother and Child Health is a radio program on good living and good health for our mothers and our children. This program is brought to you from your community radio, Radio Bonakanda. And in this program Mother and Child Health, we provide our families with good information on the safe and improved methods of living, during which our mothers and the children will have good nutrition. So in this program of today, we have our resource person from Forodev, Actual Terrace, who is environmental officer of Forodev, who is going to tell us something today on breastfeeding. Breastfeeding, especially exclusive breastfeeding, is what we are going to talk to you today. I want to welcome our resource person this day. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and good day, listeners of the favorite radio, Radio Bonakanda.
Yes, you are welcome to the station, and our people are getting you this day. And according to our program, today we are going to talk on mother and child health. And inside this program, we are talking about breastfeeding. My name is Ndongo Emmanuel Molonge. I am technically assisted by Franklin Mokwele, and the supervision is ensured by Amos Evambe. We have Njema Rose Eleme, who is giving us moral support. I will begin by asking you, what is breastfeeding?
Wow, listeners, breastfeeding, as we all know, is really a problem, because most of the times making the decision to breastfeed is a very personal matter, and it also requires strong opinion, strong support from our friends and family. So the issue of breastfeeding, as we all know, is the proper feeding of your child with breast milk. And so we are here today to tell you to continue and to go into exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months without any other food, juice or water for the child. Exclusive breastfeeding, that's just giving your child breast milk, which is very important for 6 months. Exclusive breastfeeding, no juice, no water, no food.
Yeah, when you say exclusive breastfeeding, no juice, no water, no food, no any other thing, I quite remember the good olden days when our mothers used to have their children, and they tell us that the first thing to give the child is water. And this time around we are hearing about exclusive breastfeeding. Well, I want you to come this way. Why do you think that they should not include any other food, even water, during the practice of exclusive breastfeeding?
Yes, listeners, as we all know, according to research, from the research we've made, it's been proven that these are breast milk that we supply our children with has an ideal nutrition for the children. It has a perfect mixture of vitamins, proteins and fats. Everything your infant, your child needs to grow is contained in this breast milk, and it's all provided in a form that is easily digested by the child. So this breast milk contains antibodies that help your baby fight off viruses and bacteria. So this breast milk does not only have a perfect mixture of vitamins, protein and fat, which is required for your child to grow properly, it also has advantages for the babies to grow properly well, exclusively without any other food or juice and so on. So just giving your child breast milk for 6 months contains this perfect mixture, as I've said, mixture of vitamins, proteins and fat and any other thing your child needs to grow, and is as well has been proven to have antibodies that help your baby fight off viruses and bacteria. This breastfeeding also reduces your baby's risk of having asthma and allergies. So it has been proven that this breast milk that we give our children also helps the child to be healthier, as we say that it helps the baby to fight. It has antibodies that help the baby to fight off viruses and bacteria. It also reduces the baby's risk of having asthma or allergies. Babies who are breastfed exclusively for 6 months without any food, water, or juice or so on have fewer ear infections, respiratory illnesses, and bouts of diarrhea. They have also been proven to have fewer hospitalizations. So the risk of it reduces your risk of always taking the child to see the doctor for medications. So this breast milk is very, very healthy. Exclusively breast milk is healthier for the child.
Thank you very much, listeners. You are listening to the program Mother and Child Health, and today we are talking about exclusive breastfeeding. And our resource person here is Achua Teres, who is environmental worker with Forodev. Forodev is an NGO which is here in Boya, and this NGO is teaching us much about nutrition. I want to find out from you. Many mothers refuse this exclusive breastfeeding. They say that first, when they breastfeed the baby exclusively for 6 months from the first day, their breasts are going to fall. Secondly, they say that it is exhaustive. In fact, after breastfeeding for a long time, you feel tired. So, how do you make our people to really accept this practice without fearing these two aspects?
Yes, listeners, it is for sure that most mothers, breastfeeding mothers, get scared of that fact of breastfeeding their child, talk less of exclusive breastfeeding, that the breast might fall off. Yes, the fear that the breast might fall off. But probably, nutritionally, it's been proven that it's good to breastfeed your child. As we are saying, exclusive breast milk for 6 months is very important. But this issue of breastfeeding, that the mothers get fear of the fact that their breast might fall off and so on, they need proper support from their families, support from their friends, as I earlier said, their husbands, from the nation. We all need to support the breastfeeding mothers, because it's not just about what they get to eat, it's also about support. They need to feed well. For we've been saying, as Forodev has always been saying, that feed well, feed right, and feel healthy. If the breastfeeding mother gets to feed properly, as we have been saying, how do we talk about feeding well? How do you get to feed well? You need to feed right, the right things, as we said, balanced diet. The breastfeeding mother also needs to breastfeed and feed extremely well. You need the balanced diet, intake of not just carbohydrate, but you reduce the quantity of carbohydrate you take. Carbohydrate is as well important, as we say, it gives energy. You need vitamins and proteins, which you get from fruits, you get from vegetables. So breastfeeding mothers should be able to consume vegetables enough, and varieties of them, because the different vegetables have different vitamins they give to the body. And as we all know, that these vitamins and minerals are not produced by our body, so we need to take vegetables and fruits so that we can get these vitamins and minerals from them. So we need the different types. The breastfeeding mother needs the different types of vitamins and minerals, so consume vegetables and fruits, varieties of them. So those of us needs, after the friends, the families, the nation, we need to support them with this. We need to support any breastfeeding mother by giving them enough food, right foods they need. They need vitamins and minerals, which they can get from vegetables and fruits. They need carbohydrates, but not in too much quantity. As we said, if you are taking a plate of meal in front of you, you divide it into 3 portions. Half of that plate should be made of vegetables, while the other 2 portions should contain proteins. Proteins, as we say, we have cheap sources of proteins, as we've been advising. You get them from peanuts, granules, you get them from egusi, you can get it from fish, from meat. So they should be able to consume proteins, which are very, very important, because they help fight against infections of the body. So they need to consume proteins, they need vitamins and minerals, as well as they need fruits and carbohydrates to be able to feed well, to feel right properly, so that they can be able to give their children breast milk exclusively for 6 months without fear for anything, without fear of infection, without getting tired, without getting weak. As well as we said, they need support, because most of the times the question is whether or not women are being supported in their breastfeeding struggles. It is not always an easy task, and sometimes it takes a while for baby and mom to learn how to feel properly. So do the women give up early on in the breastfeeding process? Are we there to support them in that struggle of breastfeeding? When they get to complain that, oh, my breast will fall off, what will the husband say? Will you make the woman feel comfortable that, no, we need our child to breastfeed well, and the fact that if your breast has to fall off, it doesn't mean I will not still be there for you, I will still love you. So we need to support our breastfeeding mothers, so that they should be able to give their children breast milk without any fear, confidently and happily. So these are the things we need to support our breastfeeding mothers with: food and as well support.
So are we saying that this support is close to the mothers?
Yes, support to the mothers, because they are the ones breastfeeding the children. So when we support the mothers, we have supported the children.
Their husbands are there, their family members
members are there,
everybody is there,
the nation, the government is there to intervene, to see
even
what they can do,
our
to support health centers, NGOs, civil society organizations, to see what they can do to support our breastfeeding mothers.
Well, I am very happy with the information you have given to our people on exclusive breastfeeding. But I have this worry. Sometimes when you look at the children who were breastfed with this artificial milk mixed with other foods, we see them, many of our children, they grow so fast and they look healthy. What is the difference between these children and those ones who are breastfed exclusively for the first 6 months?
Yes, listeners, children who are breastfed for the first 6 months, as we say, exclusive breast milk for the first 6 months, as we said, they contain a perfect mixture of vitamins, proteins, fat, everything they need to grow. And when it concerns their educational status, we discover that children breastfed exclusively for 6 months have a link to higher IQ. That's the reason that's extremely well when it concerns their studies, education, later in the childhood, compared to the children who get to feed from
girls
or Bebelac, Cerelac, all these things. Because as we said earlier, that this breast milk contains all our children need to grow. This just the breast milk, without you giving any other thing. But when you get to breastfeed, give the child Cerelac or milk, this one now, the Cerelac might contain some other nutrients, but not all of the nutrients needed for the child's bringing proper growth. So this is the small difference that it has. And the child, it has a role to play in the child's intelligence too, in school. It has a role to play. Then there is something, this mother to child link. There is this connection between the mother to child. In the course of breastfeeding, we discover that the contact that the child has to the mother while breastfeeding, there is this close link between the child and the mother that makes the child feel very, very secure while he or she is breastfeeding and looking at the mother's eyes, eye contact. She gets to feel very, very secure that, oh, my mom is here. The contact, closeness, there is this closeness between the child and the mother. So this is another.
Which is the child's right.
The child's right, and the child needs it. So you feel comfortable. The child feels very comfortable, getting close, getting attached to the mother, and feeling very secure that, oh, I am being supported. My mom is here for me.
Yeah, there's something that I want to find out from you again. During the very good olden days, we used to see our mothers on the first day of delivery. Normally, the milk that comes out is not white. It has a yellowish color, and most times we used to see them. they squeeze it out, maybe as something to be discarded. And this time around, they are telling us that yellowish milk is very important to our newborn babies. So, can you throw some light on that?
Yeah, listeners, that at first mothers, the breastfeeding mothers used to throw off this, because the thing, when it comes out, as it's known that your breast produce an ideal first milk, which is called the colostrum, and this colostrum is thick, yellowish and scant, but plenty plenty milk to meet the baby's nutritional needs. But at first, our mothers used to discard it out, maybe because of the color. They think as the color is yellowish, is thick, is dirty, is not nutritional for the child. But research has proven that this first milk, which is known as a colostrum, which is thick, yellowish and scant, is very, very important for our children. It is highly nutritional. It is very, very rich. This first milk is highly nutritional. It contains more than enough nutrients, more than enough that a child needs to grow properly. So it's been advised now that the breastfeeding mothers should be able to give their children this first milk and not to throw it out, because it's very essential for the children, because it's very, very nutritional. It contains all the nutrients.
We also hear that sometimes hygienic wise, during artificial breastfeeding, sometimes you have to wash the container, and at times you don't wash it well. You have to boil the water, maybe, or warm the water for the mixture. But in terms of breastfeeding, the child just sucks readily. There's no time for you to go and warm the breast, or so and so on. So I want to find out from you, in terms of hygiene and sanitation, what is the difference between this artificial breastfeeding and the proper breastfeeding?
Wow, it is known, as we all know, that when you get to feed your child with this Cerelac or Gauze, other milks, you go through the stress of having to buy this milk, having to measure which quantity will be enough for the child, having to sterilize your bottles. You're having to warm bottles, sterilize them. But when you get to breastfeed this your child, when you get to give your child breast milk, you don't go through that stress of buying, of having to worry which quantity you need to give your child for it to be enough for him or her to consume. So it saves you time and money. Deciding to breastfeed provides you with regular time for relaxing quietly with your newborn as you grow close and emotionally to bond together. Then this issue of hygiene, well, we know, as we all know, that the breastfeeding, when you get to breastfeed your child, you don't go through the stress whether you need to sterilize or you need to boil or you need to wash, but all you need is just to clean your nipple, and the child, the hygienic condition of the child is very secured. Compared to the bottles, you don't know how they get to handle, who handles the bottle, how they get to pour it, which quantity is enough for the child first, then now the hygienic, how they get to wash it. Has it been properly washed? Has it been sterilized properly for the child? Are there bacteria there that are not good for the child's health? So you get to worry about all that. But when you get to breastfeed the child, it's obviously, and I believe the breastfeeding mothers will testify, that is very, very hygienic for they themselves and their children.
Yeah, during illness, we know that whether you are breastfed exclusively or not, normally at one time you might be sick.
Yeah.
And now, how do you compare the seriousness in illness between babies fed exclusively and those fed with breast milk, including other foods? Do they resist the same, or there's one that resists more than the other?
Yes, the breastfeeding, the child who is being breastfed exclusively has advantages, because as I said earlier on, that the breast milk contains antibodies that help your baby to fight off viruses and bacteria. So there is this while that which is the child who is being fed with Cerelac or milk and any other food stuff doesn't have this advantage of getting antibodies to fight for him in case other attacks come. But this child who is being breastfed have antibodies that get to fight off diseases. So this child with who is fed with other milk, other formulas, get the risk of being attacked easily by diseases and ailments, while the one being breastfed has antibodies to fight off these illnesses, so the risk is reduced for a child who is being breastfed.
Some people say that children nowadays are heady, they are stubborn, they behave in unusual manner. And sometimes you hear people say these children who have been fed on cow milk and so on. Can this be the reason why some of our children are behaving in a very funny way this time?
Yeah, to an extent, I believe it has a role to play. As I said, during breastfeeding, there is this contact. The child feels secured with the mother. There is this link. The reasoning, it has something to do with the child's IQ, the reasoning, the intelligence of the child. The way the child has to reason is obviously far different from how a child who is being fed with cow milk will obviously reason. So it has a role to play to the intelligence of the child, contact, the security of the child, everything, the health of the child. So breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding, is very, very essential.
How often should a mother breastfeed the child?
For that aspect, how often should a mother breastfeed the child? Breastfeeding is something, it depends how long the mother has to sit on one position to breastfeed the child. That has a role to play too, because most of the time some women don't concentrate on breastfeeding their children. You just sit, after some few seconds you think that is enough for the child. You should be able to understand the signals your child has to give on, to know if your child is hungry or needs breast milk or not. So as often as the child signals of hunger or food, you need to breastfeed the child.
Well, thank you very much.
And it should not be an issue of where, because that is another thing.
Yes.
Most of these are young
on
girls
the road,
get worried,
yes,
whether on the road or in the bus. Or I believe the way God has made it naturally, when you become a mother, that aspect of shame gets out of you. You feel very confident of what you are doing. So that's what we say, support tools should also be there. We should not make the breastfeeding mother feel a type when she is breastfeeding her child in public, in the midst of people. We should support her to make her know it is her right, it's a child's right to be breastfed when he or she needs food. So she needs to be confident in doing it. She's a mother and she should be proud to be called a mother who is breastfeeding her child. So we need to support them, as I earlier said.
Some men do admire women when they take out their breasts
to breastfeed their child, yes, because that shows confidence. They are confident in doing that. They are so happy to be called mothers.
And their husbands may not like it.
That is why we say, if you don't like it, then you don't need your child to be properly fed. So you need to support your wife. You need to be confident about it. You need to be happy that you are, in fact, parents. So you need to support your child. You need to give the child the milk, the food for him or her to be able to grow properly well. So support the breastfeeding mothers.
Thank you very much. I think that our young ladies especially have gotten you very well. And we are just happy that nowadays we have so many of our young ladies who are practicing exclusive breastfeeding. We just encourage those others who are still lagging behind to make sure that they practice exclusive breastfeeding, because we have known of a variety of advantages involved in it. So that is the reason why Radio Bonakanda is on, to make sure that we inform our people day after day, especially what they get during their antenatal clinic activities. So we encourage the women to practice exclusive breastfeeding, and we also call on our family members, our husbands, everybody, the government to support
neighbors,
to support these women, because this year we are talking about breastfeeding support close to mothers. And that is the theme of the breastfeeding week that we just celebrate. So we thank you so much for coming. But before we go, just an advice to our mothers.
Wow, our lovely mothers, you are the nation, you make the world. So without you, the nation, there is no nation. So we just want you to continuously being proud of being mothers. So you should be able to give your children breast milk, because you want your children to grow up to be important personalities. So give the children this breast milk, exclusive breast milk, for 6 months, after which you can now supplement the breast milk with other foodstuffs to make the child grow healthily. So you need your children to be intelligent, you need your children to be healthy, you need them to be confident, you need the bond, you need the love from them, you need them healthy, so that when they grow up they can be able to contribute to the economy of the country, they can be able to contribute to the knowledge, to giving out knowledge in the country, they can be able to contribute to the health of the country. If they are healthy, they will support in all the domains that our nation needs to grow perfectly well. So have the support, be proud to be called mothers, be proud to be called mothers of the nation. Thank you.
Well, this program is produced by your community Radio Bonakanda. Radio Bonakanda is the community radio which is giving you all this information. And thanks to our big organizations like UNICEF, we get the program Commonwealth Link. And then we say that all of us join you there out there to say thank you for listening. You are in the company of Emose Vambe and Franklin Mokwele, who are holding the machines. In the studio here we have Achua Teres, environmental worker from Forodef, and my name is Ndongo Emmanuel Molunge, the producer of this program. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless you.